A woman can stand in front of you, look directly into your eyes, smile politely, and feel absolutely nothing. No curiosity, no pull, no emotional movement. Just neutrality. And if you don't understand what's really happening in that moment, you will do what most men do. You will try harder. You will speak more, explain more, show more. You will increase effort, hoping effort creates attraction. But it doesn't. In fact, it does the opposite. It quietly pushes her further away. Not because you're a bad man, not because you're not good enough, but because you're playing the wrong game entirely. You think attraction is something you build through action. She experiences attraction as something that happens to her. And that difference is everything. You've lived this before. There's a woman, maybe at work, maybe in your social circle, maybe someone you met recently. She's kind to you. She responds. She laughs sometimes. She doesn't reject you, but she doesn't choose you either. There's no tension, no spark, no shift in her energy when you walk into the room. You are present, but you are not felt. And that quiet reality is one of the most frustrating positions a man can be in, because there's no clear rejection to move on from, and no clear attraction to build on. So you stay, and you try. You increase your effort in subtle ways. You text a little more. You respond faster. You become more available. You offer help. You show consistency. You think, if I just show her I'm a good man, she'll see it. But attraction is not based on what she sees. It's based on what she feels. And feelings don't respond to logic. They respond to emotional experience. This is where most men get lost. They believe attraction is a decision, something she chooses after evaluating you, your personality, your stability, your behavior. But attraction doesn't work like that. A woman can respect you and still not desire you. She can like you and still feel nothing for you. She can even trust you and still never think about you when you're gone. Because desire is not built on logic, it's built on emotional stimulation. Subtle, invisible, psychological stimulation. The kind that doesn't ask for permission. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that simply appears. And here's the part most men don't want to hear. The more you try to force attraction, the more unnatural you become. Your voice changes slightly. Your behavior becomes calculated. Your energy becomes tight. You start monitoring yourself, thinking about what to say next, wondering how you're being perceived, trying to get it right. And in that moment, you stop being present. You stop being grounded. You stop being real. And she feels it instantly, not consciously, but deeply. Because women don't analyze your words first. They feel your state first. Your nervous system speaks before you do. Your presence communicates before your mouth opens. Your energy reveals everything you're trying to hide. Your need for approval. Your desire for validation. Your fear of losing her attention. It's all there. And she senses it. That's why two men can say the exact same words and create completely different reactions. One feels forgettable. The other feels magnetic. Not because of what they said, but because of how they exist in the moment. One is trying to be liked. The other is simply present. One is seeking a response. The other is creating an experience. And a woman always responds more strongly to experience than effort. Think about this carefully. Have you ever met someone who didn't try to impress you, but still held your attention effortlessly? They weren't the loudest. They weren't the most talkative. They didn't dominate the room. But something about them felt different, grounded, calm, unshaken. They didn't rush to speak. They didn't react quickly. They didn't seek validation. And because of that, you paid attention. Not because they demanded it, but because they held it. That's presence. And presence is the foundation of attraction. Most men misunderstand presence. They think it's confidence, or dominance, or charisma. But real presence is none of those things. Real presence is internal stillness. It's the ability to be in the moment without needing to control it, without needing to impress, without needing to prove anything. It's when your mind is not racing, your body is not tense, your energy is not reaching outward. You are simply there, fully, calmly, aware. And that state changes everything. Because when you are present, your movements slow down, your voice becomes steady, your eye contact becomes natural, your reactions become intentional. You stop chasing moments and start allowing them. And when a woman feels that, something shifts inside her. She relaxes, not because you told her to, but because your presence gives her permission to. Her guard lowers slightly. Her attention sharpens. She becomes more aware of you, not in a logical way, but in a sensory way. She starts noticing small things, your tone, your pauses, your stillness. And that awareness is where attraction begins. Attraction does not start with excitement. It starts with awareness. A subtle shift in attention, a quiet curiosity, a moment where she feels something but doesn't fully understand it yet. And that moment is incredibly fragile, because most men destroy it instantly. They feel the shift, and they rush. They talk more. They try to build momentum. They try to capitalize on the moment. But attraction doesn't grow through pressure. It grows through space. Space is what allows emotion to develop. Space is what allows curiosity to expand. Space is what allows her mind to engage. When you give her space, she starts thinking about you. Not because you asked her to, but because there's something unresolved, something incomplete, something she wants to understand. And that internal engagement is far more powerful than anything you could say. Because now, she is participating. She is feeling. She is investing. This is the shift. The moment where you stop trying to make her feel something and start becoming someone she feels naturally. No force, no pressure, no performance, just presence. And that presence communicates something very specific. It tells her, you are not desperate. You are not chasing. You are not seeking approval. You are grounded, stable, in control of yourself. And when a woman feels that, she experiences something rare. Emotional safety without boredom. Calm without weakness. Strength without aggression. And that combination is what creates real attraction. Because a woman cannot feel desire if she feels pressure. She cannot open emotionally if she feels rushed. She cannot relax if she senses instability. But when she feels calm energy, controlled presence, and quiet confidence, her entire system shifts. Her breathing slows. Her posture softens. Her tone changes. Her eyes stay longer. She becomes more engaged, not because she decided to, but because she felt something. And that's the truth. Attraction is not created in the mind. It's triggered in the body, in the nervous system, in the emotional response she has when she's around you. And that response has nothing to do with how much you try. It has everything to do with how you are. So if you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but getting nothing back, if you've ever wondered why she treats you like an option instead of a priority, this is why. You were focused on action. when you should have been focused on presence. You were trying to be chosen, instead of becoming someone who is naturally felt. Because the moment you shift that, everything changes. Not instantly, not dramatically, but subtly. And those subtle shifts are what create powerful results. She starts noticing you differently. She listens more closely. She responds with more attention. She becomes curious. And curiosity is the beginning of attraction. Not because you chased it, not because you forced it, but because for the first time, you created a moment where she could actually feel you. And once a woman feels something real, even slightly, she doesn't forget it.
There is a moment, so small, so quiet, so easy to miss, but it changes everything. Not in what she says, but in what she feels. Because attraction, real attraction, does not arrive loudly. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for attention. It appears silently, in the space between two people. And if you don't understand how that moment is created, you will walk past it every single time. Most men are focused on the obvious: words, timing, appearance, strategy. They believe attraction is something they can control from the outside. But what actually matters is happening underneath, in her breathing, in her body language, in her emotional state. And those things are not influenced by effort. They are influenced by energy. Energy is not something you say, it's something you carry. It's in the way you stand, the way you look, the way you pause, the way you react or don't react. It's the difference between a man who feels stable and a man who feels uncertain. And that difference is instantly recognized. A woman can be in a room full of men, all talking, all trying, all performing, and still feel nothing. Then one man walks in, says very little, does very little, but somehow he changes the atmosphere, not because he demanded attention, but because he shifted it. That's what presence does. It reorganizes the emotional environment. And the shift begins with something most men ignore: silence. Not empty silence, but intentional silence. The kind that doesn't feel awkward, but charged. Most men are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill it. They talk too quickly. They explain too much. They try to keep the conversation alive because they think silence kills attraction. But silence, when held correctly, creates it. Because silence forces awareness. It slows everything down. It removes distraction. It makes her feel the moment instead of escaping it. And when a woman feels the moment, she becomes aware of you in a completely different way. Your presence becomes louder than your words. Your energy becomes more noticeable. Your stillness becomes something she responds to. This is where the invisible shift begins. Not in what you say, but in what you allow. You allow space. You allow pauses. You allow her to feel. And when she feels, her body starts responding. Subtly at first, almost unnoticeable, but real. Her breathing changes, slightly slower, slightly deeper. Her posture softens. Her shoulders drop. Her movements become less guarded. Her eyes stay on you longer than necessary. Not because she decided to, but because something inside her is paying attention. This is not attraction at its peak. This is attraction at its beginning. And this stage is the most important because it's fragile, easily disrupted, easily lost. And most men lose it without even realizing it was there. They feel the shift and they panic. They think, this is my moment. So they move forward too quickly. They talk more. They try to escalate. They try to do something with it. But the moment you try to control it, you destroy it. Because attraction cannot be forced forward. It must be allowed to expand. Expansion requires patience, not passive waiting, but controlled restraint. The ability to stay grounded while something is building. The ability to feel tension without reacting to it. The ability to hold the moment without needing to change it. This is where most men fail, not because they don't understand attraction, but because they cannot tolerate the feeling of uncertainty. They need reassurance. They need confirmation. They need progress. And that need shows up in their behavior. They ask too many questions. They seek validation. They look for signs. They try to move things forward before the moment is ready. And when a woman feels that, she pulls back, not consciously, but instinctively, because pressure, even subtle pressure, creates resistance. And resistance doesn't come from rejection. It comes from discomfort, from feeling rushed, from feeling evaluated, from feeling like she has to respond instead of simply experiencing. But when there is no pressure, something else happens. Curiosity. Curiosity is one of the most powerful emotional triggers in attraction, stronger than excitement, stronger than validation, because curiosity pulls her inward. It makes her think about you, not because she has to, but because she wants to understand. When a woman is curious, she starts observing you more closely. She notices details, your tone, your reactions, your expressions, the way you pause, the way you respond. And in that observation, she becomes engaged, emotionally, mentally, physically. This is how attraction grows, not through intensity, but through accumulation. Small moments, subtle shifts, quiet tension, building over time. And the man who understands this does something very different. He doesn't chase the moment. He holds it. He doesn't try to impress her. He lets her experience him. He doesn't rush forward. He allows her to move closer. Because when a woman moves towards you on her own, even slightly, the investment becomes hers. And what she invests in, she values. This is where eye contact becomes powerful. Not staring, not intensity, but calm, steady awareness. The kind of eye contact that doesn't demand anything, but communicates presence. When your eyes are stable, your energy feels stable. When your gaze is calm, your presence feels calm. And that calmness creates safety, not comfort like friendship, but emotional safety, the kind that allows attraction to grow. Because a woman cannot feel desire in a state of tension. She cannot open if she feels uncertain about you. But when she feels grounded energy, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, she becomes receptive. Receptive to what? Not to your words, to your presence, to the feeling of being around you. This is how attraction becomes less about interaction and more about experience. She is no longer evaluating you logically. She is experiencing you emotionally. And emotional experience is what creates attachment. The way she feels around you becomes the reason she thinks about you later. Not what you said, not what you did, but how she felt. And if that feeling is different, calmer, deeper, more grounded, she notices. Even if she doesn't understand it, even if she can't explain it, she remembers it. Because people don't remember conversations. They remember emotional states. And when your presence creates a state she doesn't usually feel, you become associated with that state. This is how attraction becomes memory. And memory is what brings her back. Not because you chased her, not because you convinced her, but because something about you stayed with her. Quietly, without effort, without force. And that is the invisible shift, the moment where you stop trying to create attraction and start allowing it to form naturally. Because the strongest attraction is never built in front of you. It's built in her mind, after you're gone. There is a moment, so subtle, so quiet, so easy to misunderstand, where everything changes. Not on the surface, not in what she says, not in what she shows, but underneath. In the place where thought begins to dissolve and feeling takes over. This is the point most men never reach, and even when they do, they don't recognize it, because they're still focused on doing something, when the only thing that matters now is what they don't do. Desire does not grow in movement. It grows in stillness, in pauses, in the space between actions, in the tension that exists when nothing is forced forward. Most men are uncomfortable here because this is where control disappears. There is no script, no clear step, no guarantee, just energy, just presence, just a moment that feels like it's holding something but hasn't revealed it yet. And that uncertainty creates pressure inside you, a need to act, a need to say something, a need to move the interaction forward. But that need is exactly what breaks the moment. Because the second you act out of need, your energy changes. It tightens. It reaches. It tries to take something instead of allowing something to unfold. And she feels that instantly. Not logically, but emotionally. Desire cannot exist in pressure. It cannot exist in urgency. It cannot exist in a moment that feels controlled. It only exists when there is freedom. Freedom to feel. Freedom to stay. Freedom to move closer without being pulled. This is where restraint becomes power. Not forced restraint, not calculated behavior, but natural control. The ability to feel something building and not rush to complete it. Think about tension, real tension, the kind that doesn't need words, the kind that sits in silence, the kind that makes time feel slower. That tension is the foundation of desire, and tension is created not by action, but by holding back action, by letting a moment extend just slightly longer than expected, by allowing eye contact to stay just a little deeper than normal, by not filling silence when silence feels alive. This is where something begins to shift inside her. Her awareness increases, her body responds, her attention locks in, not because she decided to focus on you, but because something about the moment feels different. Her breathing slows, her posture softens, her movements become less controlled. She becomes present without realizing it. This is not coincidence. This is response. A response to an environment that feels safe, but not predictable. Calm, but not boring. Stable, but not passive. Because desire needs contrast. It needs safety and uncertainty. It needs calm and tension. It needs stability and mystery. When all of those exist together, something powerful happens. She starts feeling instead of thinking. And when she starts feeling, her logical filters begin to fade. This is where most men make their biggest mistake. They interrupt this shift. They try to take control of it. They try to define it. They try to secure it. But desire cannot be secured in the moment. It can only be experienced. And the more you try to hold on to it, the faster it disappears. Because holding on creates pressure, and pressure kills emotional flow. Flow is what allows desire to deepen, not intensity, not speed. Flow, a natural progression of feeling without interruption, without force, without expectation. This is where emotional depth begins to form, not through questions, not through conversation, but through shared presence. A moment where both of you are aware of something happening without needing to explain it. And in that awareness, something inside her opens. Not completely, not all at once, but enough. Enough for curiosity to turn into interest. Enough for interest to turn into attraction. Enough for attraction to begin moving deeper. This is where desire becomes internal. It's no longer about you.
It's about what she feels within herself, and that feeling is what she begins to follow. Because once a woman starts feeling something real, she cannot ignore it, even if she tries, even if she resists, even if she doesn't fully understand it. Her mind will return to the moment, replay it, analyze it, not logically, but emotionally. She will remember the silence, the eye contact, the way she felt, the way her body responded, and that memory will carry more weight than anything you could have said. Because people don't hold on to words, they hold on to feelings, and the stronger the feeling, the deeper the imprint. This is where attraction turns into desire, not because of something external, but because something internal has been activated. And when desire becomes internal, it grows on its own, without effort, without chasing, without needing constant interaction. This is the difference between forced attraction and natural desire. One needs to be maintained, the other maintains itself. And the man who understands this moves differently. He doesn't rush moments, he doesn't chase outcomes, he doesn't react to every shift. He stays grounded, centered, present, regardless of what is happening. Because his stability is what allows the moment to exist, without him trying to control it. This is where real power exists, not in what you do, but in what you allow. You allow silence, you allow tension, you allow space. You allow her to feel without interruption. And in that space, she begins to move closer, not physically at first, but emotionally, mentally, internally. And once she moves internally, everything else follows. This is the part no one teaches, because it cannot be faked, it cannot be scripted, it cannot be forced. It can only be embodied. Through control, through awareness, through presence. Because when you are fully present, you don't need to think about what to do. You don't need to calculate. You don't need to perform. You simply exist in the moment without trying to change it. And that state is rare, and anything rare is valuable. That's why she feels it. That's why she remembers it. That's why it stays with her. Not because you tried to create desire, but because you created a moment where desire could exist naturally. And once a woman experiences that even once, she compares every other interaction to it. Most will feel rushed, most will feel forced, most will feel empty. But yours will feel different, slower, deeper, more real. And that difference is what makes you unforgettable. Because in a world where most men are chasing, forcing, talking, proving, you became the man who understood how to hold a moment. And that is where everything changes.